Hello crafty friends, it's Jess from jesscrafts.com, and today I'm here to share another one sheet wonder tutorial and template with you. You can follow the link in the video description to my blog where you will be able to download and print a PDF that tells you exactly how to cut your cards and then shows you a sketch of how to assemble your cards. And you'll use up a 6x6 pattern paper to make 2 cards and no scraps. I'm going to use 2 pieces of pattern paper and make 4 cards just so that I can mix up some of the patterns a bit more. I love to do that, but if you really just want to make 2 cards and just use 1 sheet, you can go for it. A lot of these work great with that, particularly this one. This one is super simple. However, it's a great way to use up some pattern paper fast. And the measurements are just a little bit more tricky this time than they usually are. So you'll see that there's a big old note on the PDF to try to explain the process in case you're not watching the video. But what I did is I cut my 6x6 paper to 3x6 inch strips. Then I measured 3.35 inches down. That's a little bit of a weird measurement. But basically, if you have a ruler that does 1/8 of an inches, if you go to 3 1/4 and then you just take one little hash mark down, that's about where you want to be. So I made that measurement on both sides, both long sides, both 6-inch sides of the 3x6 paper. Then I connected those 2 dots and it makes a diagonal line. I don't want to have to keep measuring that. I don't think any of you guys do either. So here's what I'm doing and what I suggest you do. When you figure out and you cut one of the pieces to the right size, which I have that yellow piece there is the right size, take a piece of scrap cardstock. I like to use white just so I can write on it. And you're going to want to cut it to be the same size as that first piece of pattern paper. So you're going to start with a 3x4 inch piece, whatever, just so it's long enough. And then cut it off to match that pattern paper size. Label it. I labeled mine One Sheet Wonder number 22 template patterned paper because I'm also going to make a template, and that's what I'm doing right here for the cardstock mat. So I take one of the pieces of pattern paper that is cut to the right size. Then I take a 3 1/4 inch wide by maybe 4 inch or so scrap of cardstock, and I'm going to trim that to what I think the mat should be. So I placed the pattern paper on top of it, positioned it such that it looked like it had, an even amount all along the sides, trimmed it down. And now I'm going to use that. So I'm going to cut all of these orange pieces to 3 1/4 inch wide. Then I'm going to place my cardstock template on top of them, bring it to my paper trimmer, and cut along the diagonal line. Now, if it's a little bit, for whatever reason, you don't want to hold the cardstock layers together like this, you can just draw a line. Then, use your paper trimmer to cut it down, cut on the line that you just drew. And I would suggest drawing on the back side or making sure you're using a very light pencil just so that you can erase it well. But I did find that holding my cardstock template on top of my cardstock mat worked out pretty well. I will try to include a picture and a verbal explanation on my blog in case it was a little unclear what I mean by creating those templates. But now I never have to make the measurements again. I'm going to include this. I have a binder with all my sketches, and I'm going to just put these in the same binder, page protector as the sketch, so that I can make super fast cards whenever I need to finish up a paper pad or something like that. Moving on to my coloring. I picked some orange, yellow, and green because when I went into my Sunny Studio paper pad to pick colors for this project, I found that I had yellow and green paper left. And I thought this bird image would work out well because yellow and green would be a reasonable color to color birds. And then I pulled out the orange because it matches for the beak, and because then I could use that for the mat. So then I used the orange cardstock. This Paper Smooches image is no longer available because no Paper Smooches images are available. Paper Smooches is a retired company. However, I like to use my stash, so hopefully you can find something in your stash that you are feeling like coloring, because really you just need any image that you like. I like this one because it has the sentiment with it, but you could die cut out a sentiment to go with it. You could stamp a sentiment and just have fun coloring whatever image you want to color. But I'll try to share a few tips of how I'm coloring in this image. I pick a dark, a medium, and a light in Copic colors. You can often follow the number colors that Copic has, or you can use something like the Sandy Allnock hex chart to pick colors that are close to each other. And in terms of the shadows, I just kept it simple and picked something. I did not think about where the light was being cast because there's no light. It's just going to be sitting on top of the pattern paper. There's no scene around it. So, for instance, all of the words have the darkest color on the left side. And the bird, I generally put the darker colors to the bottom of the bird. So, there's a shadow color at the bottom, but also a shadow color where like his wing or her wing is meeting her head, or where the wing is meeting the body, but just like really, really simple stuff because you just want contrast in order to make it look interesting. And it doesn't have to be anything super complicated, but this like matchy look of the cardstock colors and pattern paper colors being very similar to the Copic colors you chose, I find it to be very pleasing, especially when you keep a really tight limited palette like this. The one thing that I did want to point out is if you're ever using a overlapping, like the overlapping letters there, so the H and the E kind of share some space, because Copic markers are a little bit translucent, you can simply just layer them on top of each other. So I colored the complete H, the lightest orange color. And then I want to add some yellow to it to look like they are, going to be on top of each other. And that they are also translucent, like a semi-opaque, like not completely translucent. But anyway, I basically need to add some yellow over the orange. In that case, I took the medium tone of the yellow to layer over the orange, and then when I did the Y, I also took the medium tone and used that for the overlay part. I'm going to put a little bit of extra cardstock because this, the green mat is going to hang over the yellow one a little bit. Like there's going to be some part where the green would be trying to touch the back of the card base. And in order to add a little bit of cohesiveness, like I want it to be nice and flat, I just put a little cardstock there to prop it up so that it doesn't get all bumpy. So that is it for my card today. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment or share the video. If you'd like to see more videos about how to use your supplies, such as One Sheet Wonder tutorials, please subscribe and click the bell icon to get notifications. I will link all the products I can in the video description and link you to my blog where you can download any templates and get more information. For even more inspiration, come find me on Instagram or check out these 2 videos here at the end. Thank you so much for watching and have an awesome day. Bye.